sky. Well, you cry out and you don't know why. Come on now, let your feet fly. Come on now, let's go for a ride. Come on now, let your feet fly. Oh, let it fly. Come on.
All right, we're live.
Back on the red couch.
That's right.
Hey everybody, it's Izzy Dakota Jones.
Yes.
I'm Ash Wednesday.
And
This is
I'm
Kevin
Venn.
Venn.
How's it going?
Thanks for coming.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
This is the guy we were telling you about. We're gonna have a bit of a heavy conversation, and then we're gonna have a very light and fun conversation. Good. Does that sound right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little more serious than typically what's on this podcast, but I think it's something that's important to talk about.
Yeah.
You and I have talked about it many times.
For years,
You
yeah.
know, when I'm sitting in your chair and you're
Yeah.
cutting my hair, and it kind of all really came to the forefront for me when my dad passed away, and you and I started talking about kind of the state of men's mental health these days, and that it's kind of in a state of crisis.
Yes.
It's not in a good spot.
No. I don't know, maybe some of you people know this, but I spent about 20 years working in that field, and it was the vast majority of the people that we're dealing with, until the end, were middle-aged men who were struggling for a lot of reasons, right?
Countless reasons.
Yeah. But like if you're the guy, and then suddenly you're not the guy, that kind of knocks you off at the knees, man. And a lot of people, a lot of dudes have that, and don't have people. Like, who do you talk to about that? Is a thing.
Yeah.
They're just a fit, right?
I mean, that's kind of I think that's the biggest problem is, like we're kind of taught to suffer in silence. It's weak to talk about your shit, weak to talk about your problems. I don't know what, I'm probably going to mess up this saying, but it's something like shut up or man up, or man up or nut up, or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Basically the message is, if you're going to be a real man, don't talk about your problems.
Yeah.
But I think what we're seeing is what that turns into is major depression, loneliness. That turns into addiction. And it's a real dark path. Right?
Yeah, I think a lot of that is probably, like you said, I think a lot of that is generational stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because like my dad said to me, like when I was younger, he said to me, like, I'm sorry I wasn't like there for you a lot of times, right? And he says, because my dad wasn't there for me. It was a nice cop out, but he says my dad didn't tell me he loved me or hugged me until he was really old, right? And I said, so you don't think that stuff bothers you, but it does, right? It becomes a blind spot for you. You get a blind spot from that kind of stuff.
Totally.
And I think what happens is that if you start as you get older, like I'm getting older.
I'm not.
And no, but just mature-wise, I am. Physically, I'm in great shape, girls.
Oh yeah, you are, buddy.
So
wait, I'm super mature. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, no, but what I'm trying to say is,
Bonnie, I'm mature, right? Okay, sorry.
she's
She's yelling at her phone. Yeah,
she's
man.
She's going.
Yeah, buddy, you got it, Ash.
She goes on the mature one.
All right, we all know that. It's not about Bonnie. Anyway,
I think you make a good point, though, man. Like a lot of dads, and I can even speak to this. I have a boy. Like our dads didn't necessarily have those skills, right? Like it's a bit of a skill to be able to, teach your son how to, what it is to be a man, and like that's always been a funny thing to me. Like you see these bumper stickers, and it's like, real men are X, Y, Z. Like real men drive a truck, or real men drink beer. And it's like, well, hold on a minute. Like what does it mean to be a real man? And you'll ask a bunch of people and get a bunch of different questions.
You get different
my
answers.
story is the same. My dad's dad killed himself.
Holy shit.
My dad fucking bailed And when my brother, Andy and I, when we had kids, we're like, all we have to do is better than our dad did. You know?
Interesting.
So 3 years in, all right, we did it.
Yeah, yeah.
And then obviously we didn't stop.
Yeah. I mean, I got the stuff when I was a kid, but I still did up to this day with my family. You know, people say, oh, your dad, really nice guy, really kind, but your dad was crazy as a bedbug, right?
Yeah.
And so you sort of think about that for a minute, right? You know, what's that supposed to fucking mean?
Yeah.
I don't mean to swear, but like, what's that supposed to mean? Are you know, saying, oh, you like my dad, or you love my dad, but my dad was crazy? Like he was wild. He was wild, right?
Yeah.
A young guy, he was wild.
Yeah.
And so what? You know, like how are you judging? Like you just said, how the hell are you judging that?
Yeah.
By what degree?
What's the measure?
Yeah,
What's the
measure?
meter stick on that?
Yeah. I mean, here's a funny thing off the top of this. I think I told Ash this one time. My dad was, when he was a kid, my grandpa was a dentist, so he gave my dad a job to clean up the dentist's office, right? You know his van. So my dad went there, but he opened up a drawer one day and it was gold.
Oh,
Because for the gold fillings.
Oh,
And my dad started stealing the gold fillings. And then one day my grandpa noticed,
Goes to do a filling and there's no.
Dave, that was my dad's name, right? Dave, come here, right? My dad told me this story. He says, what happened? He says, well, I lost my job. Dad fired me.
Picks him up, shook him upside down, all the gold fell out of his pockets. Yeah.
So, I mean, that made the point that, yeah, okay, my dad was crazy.
Yeah.
He did crazy things, but, you know, we all did, right?
Yeah, we all did crazy things, and then we all decided that we're gonna be there for our boys.
Absolutely.
And you, Dylan, and our girls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're gonna be
for our kids.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, you try to be, that's usually what happens, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, it's interesting with my dad, you know, all in all, he was a good guy, he was a good dad, but, you know, he was a little bit kind of checked out. Like, he wasn't always, like, he was there physically, but, you know, he wasn't necessarily always kind of there for, you know, like, the hard conversations and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that got me thinking after he passed away, I'm like, you know, well, how come? And then I think about his dad, and, you know, his dad was in World War II.
That's another thing, yeah.
Man, so many of those guys came out.
That's my dad was in World War II too, right?
Shell
My dad
shock,
never talked about
PTSD.
it, though.
Yeah.
And my dad never talked about it.
And I think that's where a lot of the problem comes from.
Yes.
Right? Like they didn't have a place to talk about it. You know, like a lot of those guys, they had that camaraderie with their, you know, the army men and the fighters they were at the war with. But then they come back to normal society and they're like, what do I do with this?
Yeah.
Like a ton of them were addicted to drugs from the Vietnam War
And then everything got pushed off on the women, right?
Yeah.
Like my mom, you know my mom, and and my mom had to do it all. We know lots of women who have to do it all, and it's
different when
it's wild, right?
It's different.
And it doesn't work anymore. It certainly does. Maybe it worked before. Didn't work in the 70s for my mom. I know it was hard.
Oh, of course it'd be hard, yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be hard at any age,
Yeah.
any time period, if one parent is just there, right?
Yeah.
You know. I know when my son is, Josh is 38 or 39, he's a school teacher, and I have 2 grandchildren, right? And the recent one is Liam, he's a little boy.
Cool.
And Liam's
Little monster, isn't he?
Yeah, he's a little monster. He's great. He's 3 years old, but you know, Liam, you know, he expresses love to his dad, and Josh gives it right back.
Oh, that's great.
And I do the same, you know, when I talk to Liam. It's easy for me to do that to Liam, but to be honest, when I was divorced, so from my wife, so with my son and myself, it's always a constant. How can I put it? Constant. Try to think of the word. A constant relationship building.
Right.
I'm always having to build a relationship with him, and even if he's hearing now, that is, I don't know if you would agree, but it's always the case, right? But I mean, you know, I openly tell him I love him all the time.
Me too.
That's great.
You know, because I just know better. I just know, you know, that it doesn't. And I told him no matter what happens, it goes on. You know, like last time I think I told Ash, I told him we went to a soccer game and and he catches a ferry boat to go back to the island. And as I dropped him off at the hotel, I says, okay, you catching the boat in the morning? I says, okay, I want you to phone me when you get home. And he's 38 years old, right? And I says, you know, I want you to call me, right? And he goes, and he looks at me, he goes, yeah. And I go, no, I'm serious. I says, I'm your, you might be 38-year-old man and with two kids and married. I says, and a school teacher, but I says, I'm still your friggin' dad.
You're still my boy.
And I says, you're still my little boy.
Yeah.
And then you know what? He teared up. He actually teared up, and he gave me a big hug.
Yeah.
And he goes, thanks, Dad. I says, no, seriously. I says, I don't want it any other way. No,
That's the shit,
I don't care about any little funny feelings we have between each other at times, or we don't agree with everything. That stuff can get put away. You know,
Yeah.
screw it, right?
Yeah. But I think, you know, like a lot of people don't, a lot of guys and women as well don't get that. Right?
Yeah.
Like there's some men that have dads who have never said I love you.
Yeah.
They've never hugged them.
My
They've
dad
never
never
done
said
any of
that.
stuff.
My dad never said that.
Like, and that I think it leaves a void in people. It leaves a hole there. Leaves a lot of questions. Like, am I worthy? Am I this? Am I that? You
Yeah,
know, like,
yeah.
do I belong in this world? Do I belong in this family?
Yeah. Well, both my parents never said that to me.
Oh man.
You know that?
Sorry to hear that.
It didn't bother me to the point where I didn't understand. I got it. I got why. Because they both probably didn't get told that
Yeah.
very much, right?
But I mean, was that something you realized as a kid, or is that something you realized as an adult?
You realize that as an adult.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Like,
don't
you
use
don't-
that.
yeah,
You don't
you
get
don't-
that as a kid. You don't.
Whatever you are as a kid, that's the way it is, man.
Well, the thing is like that's what.
I think that's the
it's
thing,
like-
and then that's just normalized.
That's what the
Like
guys.
that, I would never tell a fucking dude I love him. That's fucked.
Yeah.
I tell my fucking homies that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My fucking son is in a motorcycle club. I fucking hug him and tell him I love him all the time. Right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
different now, man.
Well, you have to because.
And I want him to know
Because-
that. I want him to have grown up like that. So
Yeah,
his fucking
yeah.
so that's normal
Because
for
what
him.
he's
but
saying,
it just
though,
wasn't
is
normal
what
for
he's
us.
saying is I don't think that generation.
No, for sure, dude.
Knew how to do it and weren't taught that. When my dad said that to me, like I said, he says that my dad didn't teach me that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, dude.
And I thought, okay, that's an scapegoat, you know, and because when I met my grandpa, when I see my grandpa was never like that. You know, he was always like hands-on, right?
That's
you
a
know?
different game too, though. Grandfather.
Well, yeah, it
control
is. It's
kids
a totally
is
different game. I
And I
realize
think it's
that now.
because of the, again, too, like the age and the maturity. I'm super mature, and you're willing to do that at that point, right? A little helpless little baby, right?
Yeah.
And then
What's easy
and
is
then it
not,
doesn't fucking
you don't
matter
have to.
anymore.
The thing is, you don't have to deal with the kid after. Like me.
Yeah.
You
You
know,
gotta be
it's
giving
true.
back, right?
It's Liam. I don't have to. Liam crashes into the Christmas tree, you know, with his car, smiles at me in the camera, like on the phone, and smiles. And Josh goes, "I told you not to do that, Liam." Liam's going. I'm not going. I'm not going.
Of course.
Let it go, Liam.
Yeah, dude.
Because that's what little boys do, right?
That's
Yeah,
true.
man, push boundaries. That's
Yeah.
how you learn where they are.
Yes, that's how he's.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
I
Yeah.
think it's still a problem though these days. You know, like there's a lot of boys, there's a lot of men that didn't have that healthy upbringing, that
Yeah.
positive male role model.
Mhm.
I know a few
You know-
boys in this neighborhood like that.
Yeah, I can only imagine, man.
I know women like that too.
Yeah,
women
no,
that
for sure.
Have the same.
100%.
Well, they
I think
come from broke. They come from divorced families.
For sure.
And so they'll pick a side.
Yeah.
I don't
One
wanna
parent
negate
more
that.
than the other.
I wouldn't want to negate the struggle of women, and not even fucking close.
Yeah.
No.
Just that I'm aware of the struggle of the fucking boys and men. That's why this place looks the way this place looks.
Yeah.
Is so those fucking dudes had somewhere to come and hang out.
This place is rad, man. Like
It's
when I met you
fucking
in
rad.
Port Moody, I was like, hey, this guy knows how to cut my hair. And then you told me you're moving to East Van. I was like, I'm gonna make that drive because this guy knows how to cut my hair. And I walked in there and I was like, this place is fucking rad.
Yeah, it's
This
fucking
is
dope.
dope, right?
Yeah,
It's pretty
yeah, we
stoked
do
on
a
it.
lot of cool stuff here
Yeah.
for sure.
But you
And
know,
there
like,
are a bunch of guys who do a bunch of cool stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah.
Like
100%.
starting next week, that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, what are we gonna do, Ash?
Well, Kevin came up with this idea. It's like he wants to have we don't know what to call it yet. So far, Loyal Order of Water Buffaloes. It's not truly it. Secret Society.
Fraternity.
Yeah.
Fraternal syndicate. We haven't figured it out yet.
Something.
We'll figure it out. We'll let you know when we figure it out.
Yeah, something cool. And what it is we know some guys like us who are feeling the same way and want to have conversations with other dudes. Just honest conversations with other guys without any judgment or fucking weirdness or whatever.
Yeah.
So I've got a couple guys, you've got a couple guys.
A few guys, yeah.
We're all gonna meet up here at the barbershop and we're just gonna hang out and we're gonna be honest and talk about our fucking shit.
Yeah.
And then if they knows and if it's cool and everybody's down and they have some dudes, they're gonna bring their friends and that's what we're gonna do. And that is
Yeah.
what we suggest you do.
That's the gist of it. Yeah, and I think it's important, to have agreements with each other because, like a bunch of buddies can get together and shoot the shit. But to have that kind of agreement with each other that this is confidential,
Yeah.
so what is said here stays here.
Yeah. It's
Just to
important.
kind of make people feel like, okay, I can trust these people, right? Like we need trusted men that we can kind
And
of.
take an hour or two where you can say whatever it is you're gonna say and you're not gonna get burned for it.
Not going to get burned. No one's going to try and tell you what to do. Like you're
Yeah.
not going to get unsolicited advice.
Yeah.
And no judgment, right? Like it's
That's
gotta
right.
be gotta not have any judgment there.
Mhm.
We already see this kind of thing in 12-step programs, and that works pretty well for people. But typically, that's for people who are addicted, right? And that's
It does or it
great.
doesn't work. So that's debatable. Either that works or it doesn't work. Let's. We don't know if that works or if it. But what we do know works is the fellowship works.
Yeah.
Like whether it helps them do whatever they're trying to do, dude, that's debatable. But fellowship and friendship and trust
Yeah.
and caring.
That's kind of what you're
works.
going at.
Yeah. Because the actual like when you're talking what doesn't work is like the last guy we had on the couch did like
Lee or
Lee.
Raz.
Is it Raz? Anyways, he does very interesting.
He was
does
cool, man.
he does Vedic. He's
Oh, yeah.
kind of like philosophy,
Ayurvedic,
which is
yeah.
Ayurvedic, and a lot of it is tied to psychology, right? Now,
Mhm.
modern day psychology. So I knew exactly because I was a I did major in high school and almost got a scholarship. So I got a good understanding of what
Yeah,
he's talking about. And when we just mentioned about the blind spots, and I think when you're talking about when you go into the 12-step programs and that, it's a matter of how deep the person who's in that situation is willing to
Get into it, yeah.
well, understand what's going on with them.
Yeah, dude.
It takes more than once sometimes. It takes
Yeah.
1,000 times before somebody finally wakes up and sees things that they don't see.
Yeah.
And things don't always happen overnight, right? Like all of a sudden you see a pattern that you've created your whole life and you go, holy smoke, did
Yeah,
I
It's that blind spot you're talking about.
Well,
right?
exactly, right?
It's over here and it's always there, but you're not looking at it because it's over here, and
Yeah.
eventually you kind of.
One day
You
you
see
see
it,
it,
you're
one
like,
day you
oh,
see it, and you go
fuck.
like, and those are usually
And then
patterns.
you can't unsee it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
yeah. Well, usually those are patterns of behavior that come from, like we were just saying about incidents that happen in people's lives.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
and then those incidents carry on and manifest
Yeah.
because we just don't know we don't see them,
It's like even when I used to do my old job,
which
man,
is true.
I didn't
I'm
see
curious
it.
to hear more about your old job. Like I
Oh, I'll
I know
talk
a
all
little
about
bit
it next
Oh.
week. Maybe.
It's pretty
I,
intense.
yeah, it was fucking crazy.
I worked in a hospital, so I know what he's talking about.
Yeah, we're both
I've seen all kinds of stuff.
riddled with PTSD. But that's the thing, man. It's like that thing, like boiling a frog. You don't know. All right, see you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. See you tomorrow. Death.
Death, or sometimes even what I hated with people with in the hospital if they had issues like
Oh, yeah.
mental issues or mental and health issues.
Dude,
So what I saw sometimes is when I had to go in as a porter, I can't get into a lot of it because it's confidential. But if I would walk into a place with the security and have to
yeah.
tie somebody down,
Mhm.
I stopped. I didn't do it, and they would security say, Joe, you're supposed to help us, and I says, no, that's if I want to help you.
Right.
Yeah, right.
And I said, I'm not going to help you. And they go, what do you mean? I says, I can't find it in my heart to restrain somebody. And he goes, well, they may try to hurt us. I says, okay, when they go to hurt us, then I'll make my decision, okay?
Right, yeah.
I says, I'm not gonna, I know it's preventative what you're doing, but I don't feel good about restraining somebody.
Samesies.
There's something telling me this isn't right.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if they do something, yes, okay, I get it, right? I mean, I watched a guy once punch a nurse right in the head, knock her square down on the ground. She was out cold. Yeah, okay, here I go with security. Right?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to get you because you physically hurt somebody, right?
That line.
You've crossed the line, but otherwise, no, I'm not going to do this because I'm telling you, I don't feel good about doing those kind of, and then you think, again, like you said, that stuff bothers you afterwards.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. I got
You
fucking,
leave. You
Doesn't just go away, right?
You go home and it's like,
I got stabbed with a fucking hot needle by a dude, man.
oh, that must
Guy
be
had
terrible.
fucking HIV and Hep C.
Yeah.
Fucking put it into my fuck me.
That's terrifying.
Or they try to bite you. I had a guy tried to bite me once.
Oh yeah, I've had
A young
people
guy tried to
fucking
bite me
fight
on my
for
arm,
sure.
and I pulled my arm away just in time. I went like, holy smoke! Like I don't get paid enough to deal with all this.
The amount
Right?
of times I've heard that, I don't get paid enough to
To
do
handle
this
that kind
thing.
of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like I really don't want to be a part of this. But that is, and that's the part of the mental health thing too. Like you did. Like I'd come home, and during COVID this was going on too, right? So I come home, and one day, my doctor says, oh, I want you to go to lab, you still, you're able to go check things out, go get some blood tests done, see how you're doing health-wise. Go and do. Your liver's up a little bit, you've been drinking a bit, haven't you? You don't drink very often. Usually, why are you drinking now so much? I says, it's COVID for heaven's sakes. I'm all by myself when I come home. I go to work and people are crazy or they're really sick. I says, or they're dying in like droves.
Yeah.
Yeah, COVID didn't help us, man. I think part of the male crisis right now is loneliness, right?
Oh, sure.
And
Yeah.
COVID didn't help that.
There's
at all.
tons of studies that say that. Yeah.
Yeah. So not to be all doom about this, but what do we do, right? Like, how do we as a society, how do we as men turn this around? And I think what's important to kind of look at first is, well, what's missing, right? Like, what used to be there for men that isn't there anymore, or maybe it never was, but that it's going to help.
Probably
now.
never was. You're just at a point where you
Who's to
people
say
need
that?
to take to work on.
People
I'm
are
going to push
locked
back a bit on that because I think we did have it, but it's before recorded history even happened, right? Like, we used to have tribes, like we used to be tribal.
Oh yes, I
Right?
get that point.
So I think back then we had it, and then things all changed, and I think that's what's missing for men today is that tribe.
I think if it isn't sports, I think it gets difficult. You know what I mean? Like I know that Lauren plays on like 4 hockey teams and volleyball, and the guy's out there and with tons of people all the time. I mean, men and women, but I'm thinking about hockey just for dudes. So he gets to do that, or like sports.
Well, I play in a band.
You're always.
I got 2 bands, so you talk about the tribe. I'm in a tribe,
Yeah,
right?
and I think that I'm fucking
So,
lucky
and
too.
with
because I'm
women
here.
too in the band too. So actually,
Yeah,
it
which is
works both ways, for us, because that way we get to communicate with them. And I'll tell you, I'm getting an old dude, but I'll tell you right now, I still haven't got that part figured out. No offense to the ladies in the band, but I still struggle sometimes
With what?
communication with them sometimes,
Oh, right.
because I sort of get it. I get there on another wavelength sometimes,
Uh-huh.
but I don't. That's what I'm going. Why do I struggle over this? Because when you say black, you really mean red. You don't mean white. And how come after all these years, I don't get that? Because in my mindset, I'm still at black and white, right? It's not changed, right?
I get to talk to tons of dudes here because it's a fucking barbershop. which
Yes,
is dope.
yes. They like to talk, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But I also notice there's a lot of those dudes who aren't talking to a lot of fucking dudes,
Yeah.
right? Like
Not
we have
talking
a
at
bunch of homies. I have a bunch of homies too. I think a lot of guys don't have a bunch of homies. I think they fucking lock down into the family thing. That eats shit.
Yeah.
And they're like they stop talking to their buddies.
Yeah. And a lot of that I've heard. One of one of my favorite psychologists, he's got a podcast and everything, he says, you know, the majority of men in that type of a situation, they live in a failure factory. Like they just can't do anything good enough, or you know, they can't do it right, and so they just shut down.
Well, yeah, of course you
just shut down. Like,
you
well, if I can't do anything right, I'm just gonna
Stay home.
do the bare minimum, you know, bring home the bacon, and hope, you know, that's all I can do. So that's
right.
part of the problem, right?
That is part of the problem. If you don't get out and well, I think the thing is if you don't get out and what's the word I can use? You don't get out and you don't create those relationships.
Yeah, dude. You gotta fucking still
And
socialize.
that changes your perspective on what in your head what's going on, because in your head is where everything's you're making up as you go along.
Totally.
You get what I'm trying to say? I mean, I know from the last conversation we had with what's the name of the thing. So I practice Zen Buddhism.
Anybody who didn't watch our last show, you should go back and watch that one.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
It was cool. That guy's very
You should get him to come to your
thing, yeah.
You should get him to
That'd be
your
dope, actually.
you know what? He's very smart.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
and very he has feelings. You could tell he's a very feeling type person.
I met his kid too. His kid's
Yeah.
dope.
So he's a very nice guy.
Right? Yeah.
He's a very nice guy. And the thing is, yeah, that kind of stuff, you know, resonates, right?
Yeah.
With people, right? You know?
That's kind of. I think we're doing pretty good skating this edge of talking about this horrible fucking shit and not really falling into it.
Yeah.
Because I think we've got a pretty good plan, man.
I think so too. I've never like run anything like this before, but I've heard about them before. And, you know, it's funny too. It seems like wherever I go, I seem to create a group of guys. Like, you know, my wife and I lived in the Caribbean for a few years, which was fantastic, super fun. And I got into kiteboarding, and I did some surfing there too. And, you know, I just asked a few of the people there for their phone numbers and just made a little WhatsApp group chat, and it kept growing and growing, and it turned into this, like, you know, 50-person group chat, and apparently, and then it's this thing, and people are like, oh, how did you start this? I'm like, I don't know, man, I just got some numbers, and, you know, and I've done the same thing in the Tri-Cities with a mountain biking group, which is, you know, that's kind of blown up, and which is great.
That's good.
But still, you know, like, when we do have our hangouts and our rides and everything, it's all like very surface level conversation.
Yeah.
Like no one's really willing to go deep, and I think.
Well, because they're trying to be polite, right?
Well, I think it's
that too, though. You know what I mean? Like people are trying to be respectful and polite.
Yeah.
Don't want to get into stuff. I think that's part of it. I did a man's group for my union. So I used to belong to the hospital employees union when I worked at the hospital, and I was on the executive, and we did a men's group because we were minority, because it's all mainly women in Africa, right?
Yeah.
So we were minority, and we got a lot of pushback. The women,
really?
Oh yeah, they weren't happy about our little group, and
that's why ours is a secret society.
That's right.
Yeah, dude.
so
no one's allowed to know about it.
We're not even going.
But what we did was really good. We did stuff like mental health reach out places. We did talking about prostate cancer. We did a lot of health and things support before the guys. So when we went to a convention, like a hospital employees union convention, we'd have a table and we'd have tons of stuff that we did.
Oh, that's dope.
And reach out for people. And we did that. That men's community fell apart, of course, because it just it wasn't that the guys couldn't hold it together. That wasn't the case.
Yeah.
It was just that the guy, you know, the pressure from the bigger support of the other people, right?
I think that's interesting what you're saying about the mountain biking gang, club or whatever. My son's in a motorcycle club, not a gang. Anyway,
not a gang.
I think that things like that are awesome, obviously, but then that's also easy for dudes to just whatever talk about gearing ratios or
Totally.
Whatever, right?
Totally.
Like that's pretty easy.
Gear in their last ride, and
for sure,
the new bike, and whatever it is,
or guitars, or music, or whatever, right? And I find here Like the first couple, 3 haircuts, I'm very, very good barber. So the first
not mine.
couple, 3 times.
The reason I drive from the Tri-Cities to here.
The first couple, 3 times, it'll be the surface stuff. But then when you know the guy, it's like, it's more comfortable. It's like with your friends. Like you and I, we just started talking about music. We talk about fucking everything now. Like I think you have to be comfortable enough, and you have to be willing to be. It sounds fucking.
You gotta have no boundaries up.
You gotta be vulnerable enough and willing to do it. Right.
You gotta have your boundaries, and ego, check your ego at the door, sort of thing too.
All that shit.
Yeah, I think it's, like you say, it's kind of like dropping that armor, but it takes a little bit of time. But I think you're pretty good at kind of creating that space for people, like typically I wouldn't tell my barber that my dad died, but I did, to you, and you kind of like, you took it really well. You just kind of like stopped and paused and like, you're like, fuck dude,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
so sorry.
Because it sucks.
Yeah, it sucks, but I think a lot of guys wouldn't know what to do with that, right?
Right.
Like they wouldn't know how to respond or what to say, but you were pretty good, and maybe that's because of the work that you used to do on the downtown east side. Maybe it's just who you are, a combination of the two. But I think that's an important part too. Like a lot of people,
That's nice too.
a lot of people don't know how to listen. Like sometimes we just need people to listen, and we'll sort our own shit out. But we just need people to listen.
Yeah, that's like I've seen a lot of therapists in my life, and
Yeah, I remember this. You told me about this.
and they're forever trying to. The one sat down, and it's like, okay, fuck, because I had to do it for whatever. Like I was fucked, and anyway. So I'm talking. She's like, okay, first of all, you're not breathing. Okay, we're fucking done, man. You've got to be fucking kidding me. And then the best one, she ended up telling me something that was it was life changing. But anyway, the same woman, at one point, I said something or whatever about all these dead people, and she's trying to come up with an answer or a solution or something. And I was like, fuck, man, there's no answer to it. You can't undo that.
No.
Like, all those thousands of people are dead. They're still dead. I still watch them die. All that fucking shit is real. You can't undo it. There's nothing you can do about that.
Can't fix it.
No, dude, exactly. And then she said, what do you want me to do? And what I said to her was, every once in a while, I just want to put everything on the table. And I just need to look at that fucking shit and just go, okay, okay, that's what it is. Then I can put that away, and then it'll be okay for a while.
Yeah.
She went, oh, okay. She was fucking awesome. Well, all right, 2 stupid stories. One is awesome, one is stupid about this woman. So she was in West Van, and she was late and called me. She's late. I went to the Red Line and had a beer waiting for her. And she came and she's like, she was coming from Kitts. She's like, my car ran out of gas on the Burrard Street Bridge, and I feel that was the universe telling me I need to slow down. And I said, no, man, you need to buy fucking gas.
Yeah.
And she went,
That little gauge on the dash.
yeah, and she went, oh,
Yeah, but
right.
But you know what?
Maybe, okay.
You know where
I
I'm
hear
going?
you.
You know where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
That's how she is a opposite.
Yeah.
They look at it like
She was
that.
fucking
You
lovely.
know what I mean? Like not a psychologist. It's just as a woman going, I need to slow down because I
She
can put
also
no gas
told
in
me-
the car.
I think it's more like, well, what does this mean?
Yeah.
Trying to find meaning around, something like
Yeah,
Well, it's
running
easy.
out of gas.
She
Yeah,
also-
you're rushing around and you didn't put no gas in the car. It's really straightforward.
Yeah, dude. She also told me the best thing I've been to a lot of fucking therapists and counselors and all that stuff, or a lot over the years. And she also said the coolest thing that anyone's, like the most life-changing thing that anyone's ever said, I mean, professional has ever said to me. Bonnie said, I love you, that changed everything. But she said, you're fucked. What? What the and she said,
Yeah.
you're fucked. You're always going to be fucked. and you need to figure out how to be fucked.
No.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
well,
dude.
well, you
Holy
know,
shit, man.
yeah, well, because you're damaged.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
You feel you're damaged.
Figure it out.
And,
Broken.
and you feel like you've been screwed up and seen a lot of shit.
Yeah.
And you have.
Yeah.
You know, once when I was at the hospital and felt all the way I did,
Yeah.
you know, because of the COVID and all that. The first thing one of the doctors said to me, I says, "How come I can't stand being in here anymore? I'm looking for the friggin' fucking door when I come
Yeah,
to work."
Yeah.
And he said, because he said, "You've been living in a war zone. You've
Yeah.
been working in a war zone." And he says,
Yeah.
"You've been at war. So you're a casualty of war."
Your nervous system is just fried.
I had a
Yeah,
doctor
because it
tell
only
me-
takes so much,
I
right?
had a doctor tell me, you're on the front lines and you got no gun.
Yeah.
Fuck me.
Mhm.
Actually, I used to work at this fish processing plant with this Laotian monk. This has nothing from
Yeah, you
Laos.
told me about this guy. Yeah.
Oh.
Wild. So he was born into this thing, being a monk or whatever.
Yeah.
He'd never tied his own shoes. He'd never made his own meal. It was just spirituality and praying and whatever. And his job was to go onto the battlefield and
You told me,
pray
yeah.
and lay out these
Sure, that's
blessings or
very
whatever.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah, he'd been shot like 7 times.
Sure.
He was fuckered. And anyway, and he ended up here working with me. Lovely guy. He'd never worked a day in his life. It was fucking brutal. But what I'm saying is what you did and what I did, and maybe to a degree what everybody does, we're all that fucking guy. And we're just all in that fucking war
What-
with nothing to fight back
Yeah,
with.
but it's like, you know what, I'll tell you something about the Buddhist thing too. I went to this Zen Buddhist temple I used to go to, and there was a elderly couple that were there, and the husband
Another one?
had prostate cancer,
Another one?
and he had prostate cancer, and she was there, and I never met these people before in my life, except for the first time. And the lady said, they introduced themselves to me. They're sweethearts. And she looked at me. She goes, "Promise me one thing, Joe." And I said, "What's that?" And I found out a little. At first, I just met you. So, what do you're getting deep into
Right away, right into it.
deep right into it, right?
Yeah.
And she goes, "Promise me one thing." And I think Ash will get this too. She goes, "Promise me you won't be so hard on yourself." And I went like, "Oh, what? I never thought of that before." And so, that was coming from a total stranger. Right?
Yeah.
She just said, promise me, don't be so hard on yourself.
That's kind
We're
of
the
the thing.
hard, that's the thing, you're the hardest on yourself.
We're our
You
own worst
judge-
critic.
Yeah, you
That's
judge
kind of
yourself.
that thing we're saying, like that fucking frog in the pot. You don't see it till somebody outside goes, "Hey, that's 1,000 fucking overdoses." You go, "Oh,
You're boiling, man.
oh, that's weird, right?"
You're boiling.
Yeah, or right, or
Yeah.
how many people have you rolled into the fucking morgue, Joe?
No,
Oh, fuck, right.
Hundreds of thousands.
And that's how you got into barbery, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I asked how you got into this.
I
and
mean,
you told
I
me.
could tell you stories in the morgue you just would not believe. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just and here, I mean, I've seen stuff where I walked into the morgue and one of my best friends committed suicide 4 days ago, and there he is in a as I'm putting somebody else in, there is his tag and in the bag.
I'm so sorry.
And well, you what happens is at first you go, "Holy shit," and then you go, "Yeah, welcome to the real world," right? This is how things go down, right? You start to realize, it comes in, people come and they go, and there's just no way around it, right?
I found myself downtown fucking breathing into a cup twice of my old punk rock buddies, blowing life back into those fucking guys.
Yeah.
Fuck, man.
That's rough.
Yeah, that's rough too.
That's so rough.
Yeah. So you just learn, you just learn
Well-
that nothing's. It's like
I think
what
what
I've
you
learned
do-
in
Just
listening
put
to
on another
philosophy.
leather jacket.
Well-
Another leather jacket.
well, no, what I
another
learned in-
leather
Another
jacket.
tattoo, another piercing.
Dude.
What I learned in the philosophy is guess what? There's no permanent, right?
Yeah,
Nothing's
fair.
permanent.
Yeah, that's the Buddhist.
Everything changes, and I've totally get it now. Like hard to accept sometimes, but you just you roll with it because there's nothing that stays the same.
Yeah. The only constant in life is change.
How awesome I am.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's all there is. And then if we can get past that, you're really starting to understand shit, right? I'm serious. It has nothing to do with any kind of belief system, religion. It's just the way things are.
And we can support each other.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, we can support each other through these things. I think one of the biggest hurdles though is kind of being the first guy that has the balls to speak. Being the guy who's willing to go first.
And not be a dick.
And not be a dick.
Yeah.
And to
That's
kinda,
hard. Yeah.
Hey,
You know,
I'm
like-
hurting. Oh, you're hurting. You're hurting.
A little
You're hurting.
bitch.
Right?
Yeah.
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 It's true.
But no, being that first guy, right? You know, like I think I'm a pretty open guy. I've kind of worn my heart on my sleeve a lot, and it's not being easy. I haven't always been accepted by a lot of guys, but it's not something I'm willing to kind of give up and stop doing. You know, like because I think it's something a lot of guys need to see happen. They need to see that kind of example of someone who can, you know, do that. And they're not a pushover, they're not a wimp, they're not a nerd, and all these sorts of things. Like you can still be manly and talk about your shit. You can still be manly
of course
and masculine, and you know, be vulnerable with what's going on for you. It doesn't mean that you're weak. But you know, like we all have that sort of that social programming. It's stuck in almost all of us.
Yeah.
As men. So you know, I think a lot of the work and kind of the mission here is to start breaking through that.
Yeah, breaking down the walls. Right?
Yeah, breaking down those barriers.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not easy, right? Like it's hard work.
It's hard work,
but it is doable.
But there is a lot, like you said, there's a lot of, probably like we said earlier, a lot of generational stuff, right? And it's passed down over the years, right? You know, and people, you know, carry those situations into their lives, right? And
Yeah.
generationally.
I'm pretty sure that's why my dad died so young. You know, like he never had a place, he never had people to kind of talk to about his stuff. Like he was very, very closed off, and he had his shit, right? And but I think, you know, he turned to substance, I mean, mainly alcohol, but you know, he was a smoker his whole life, and you know, and I think that's what kind of ended things early for him. He didn't have that outlet, and he didn't know how to create it for himself. He didn't know how to he didn't know how to trust himself to talk about his shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because that's a piece too. Like, can I trust myself enough to be okay doing this and talking about my stuff? So I think it's important to create that environment for people. And, you know, like Ash said, everyone out there listening, you know, if you can create a group of your own, of trusted men, of trusted people, please go and do that, because you just never know who in that group or who you know is like really damaged and hurting on the inside, and you would never know it looking at them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we're so good at hiding it. We're so good at hiding that stuff.
Joe and I, we clearly look fucked up. But most people.
I'm okay. I'm okay being
No,
fucked
me too. Me too.
It's okay to not be okay.
And what I was going to say to you
It is.
anybody who's watching, if you want to do this, you should do it. And if you've got questions about how to do it, send us a message, and I'll tell you how we're doing it, and I'll tell you how it's going. And if you want to come to ours, like if you don't have anybody, get in touch with one of us, man. And
Hit us up.
yeah,
Hit
we'll
us up
vet
and make
you,
something happen.
and we'll decide if you're worthy.
If you're cool enough. No.
No judgment.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. No judgment.
Very
Forgot
small,
that part.
slight amount of judgment.
It says right here.
That's right.
Confidential. No judgment.
What kind of car do you drive?
How much money do you have? Yeah. Did you bring the beer?
Yeah, you have too much money, not enough beer.
Yeah.
Is it manly beer? Can't
That's
be
right.
that. Can't be
Oh,
that.
that's an interesting comment. Yeah.
Here we are drinking like the lightest beer going.
Well, there you go.
Anyway,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
That is awesome.
And I'm fucking stoked. And we're doing it next week. So
It starts up next week.
Starts
Yeah.
up next week.
if anybody wants to know how it goes, ask and we'll tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should be good.
That'd be good.
Yeah.
It'd be fun to check it out and see how it goes, right?
Yeah, I think it's gonna
Yeah.
be fun.
Do you have any other stuff you want to say before we go?
I think, you know, just kind of, I'll say it again, I've said it a few times, you know, it's got to be confidential, it's got to be judgment free, so people can trust that they can kind of let their guard down.
Yeah.
That's the secret sauce. That's the key. That's kind of where I was going with the 12-step stuff. Is, you know, the judgment free and the confidential. You know, leaving all the 12-step stuff aside. That's kind of the secret sauce. That's what can make this happen. That's what can help men who are hurting. It's, you know, can kind of curtail this this issue, this epidemic that men are facing.
That's right.
All right.
See, it was a fucking bummer, but it wasn't a bummer.
It was fine.
There is hope.
There's hope. Thanks, homie.
That's just before